is generally good here. Great. So our next speaker, Ashish. So he generally, I have really seen him using in a deck as such. So, but he always use one single slide with his topic, and then he will talk. And for the rest of the agenda, the way we are going to do it, after his session, we have an open house. I think we have just one topic so far. Anyone who would like to nominate, or maybe not nominate, maybe given a topic which he or she wants to pick up, maybe for 10-15 minutes, that is good enough. Right? Please connect with Jasleen or maybe me. And after that, we have a tea break, and then we are done. So 3 o'clock should be good. Right? With this, I will hand it over to Ashish.
Thank you. Am I audible? You guys are not audible. Yes. Am I audible? Yes. Are we going to sleep? No. Open challenge. Try to sleep in my session. The reason I say that is, I may look like a gunda, but I'm not. My objective for every conference that I've attended in the last 10 years as a speaker has been to end the session on such a note where the thought process is stimulated enough to at least take a couple of points back from here, experiment with it, and in the following conferences you come even more informed. Make sense? Right? Now, first of all, thanks to Colonel Zaidi, thanks to Swati, thanks to Bora ma'am for laying down the foundation. I was planning to bring a lot of examples from defense forces because half my family is with defense background. Right? The first thing that we are going to talk about is automation, second is agility, and third is the parallel universe. And if you see, there is a question mark after parallel universe. So that itself needs to act as a food for thought. Okay? And thanks for bearing with me. I'm actually not dressed up for a conference today, but I call these my battle fatigue since the time I became a father. So thanks for bearing with me on that. Okay? So first thing, there was a question that was asked, right? I think Bora ma'am asked that question, and then Colonel Zaidi also was asking that. Which is the most agile organization in the world? Any ideas? Anybody who wants to take a jab at it? No organization? Amazon? Any other thoughts? Family, okay. So interact to karna padega. Otherwise, I'll start coming to each and every table. Indian politics, very nice. That's a good thought. What else?
I would say the people who are sitting on the red light, the traffic lights.
Traffic lights, yes.
The way they restructure their business.
Correct. Society. So these are all examples of organizations which are agile in their approach or in their existence itself. The most agile organization in the world are the defense forces. How many NCC background students here? Right? What was the first lesson we learned in NCC? My first camp. The first lesson they teach you is whatever you may plan around, it is not going to work. Right? So as Colonel Zaidi said, there was one common objective that we are all going to work towards. And we are making a plan, we'll take this route, we'll go there, this would be our arms and ammunition, this would be an attack strategy, this would be a defense exit. Nothing works. There are so many variables in the air, you just can't help it. Somebody said family. Again, multiple variables. Right? My father, even today, he asked me, कि Microsoft Word पे काम करने के इतने पैसे क्यों मिलते हैं तुझे? He doesn't understand. He's old school. Right? उनके हिसाब से ऑफिस से घर आएगा तो फाइलें होनी चाहिए. Right? But he's a very intelligent man. A genius guy. Ahead of his times. In his thought process at least. And I did not realize how agile he was in his thought process until 5 years back. When certain incidents happened in the family, and this was the only man who's sitting at the age of 68, unperturbed with anything. And he started bringing out topics of discussion among the family members where emotions are running high. right? Sister, mother-in-law, wives, daughters, sons, brothers, husbands. Within a day, we were able to resolve that problem. And that gave me an input towards automated agility. What do we mean by automation? Let us talk about that. Any ideas? What is automation? Which can be done by its own. Any other thoughts? Faster, okay. Lesser human effort. How does that translate now, ma'am? What do you mean by lesser human effort?
The monotonous tasks that the mundane tasks, they can be automated so that you have more time to do what you're doing.
Correct. So, repetitive, yes, with the same levels of outcome. Almost, right? What is the level of agility we carry in ourselves? Ever thought about that? Inconsistent. Any other adjective? We need a push to get it done. Situational. What else? Exactly. So second lesson that NCC taught me and which armed forces taught me, my brothers taught me who are serving officers right now. You never know what you can become until a situation presents itself. And when a situation presents itself, 60% of the work is done by your own muscle memory and your reflexes. That part is automation. Agility we have touched upon. Automation we have just talked about. What is a parallel universe? No. What is the definition of a parallel universe? नहीं मैम डिजिटल उसके ऊपर मत जाओ. General layman's language. What is a parallel universe? Do you have a parallel universe? Do you have a parallel universe? Everyone has it. What is that parallel universe? It's called family and friends. It's called individual time. It's a parallel universe. Individual time में I am the general of Indian Army आज की डेट में. Because I can let my imagination fly. Right? Basic concepts were touched upon today. Swati was talking about leadership styles. In my parallel universe, I am perfect on all those parameters. And then there are tangents which are coming out of that parallel universe. My best friend, right? My office colleagues, people I meet in a conference, somebody I bump into on the road. इसके साथ में एक मेरा professional universe भी है. The point I was trying to make when Sanjay was presenting it, right? The whole idea is the basic concept which I do not agree with upon is that you need to keep your personal and professional life separate. Can you do that in all practicality? आप सुबह घर से निकले हो, suddenly somebody bumps into your car, बहसबाजी, natural reaction हमारा क्या, right? रोड तेरे बाप की है क्या? That's what we get to hear. अब आपका mood पूरा spoiled है, and you have a board meeting at 11 o'clock. You are already late. What do? Do you walk into the boardroom smiling? Yes. But is that a real smile? Are you feeling all peppy? You're not. दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? पता नहीं साले ने कितने का खर्चा छोड़ा है इस पे यार. फेंडर बेंड कर दिया मेरा. अब शाम को मैं उससे जाके बात करूंगा परवेज से तो वो बताएगा. That's what is going on. Any other example? Child स्कूल गया हुआ है, वहां से फोन आ गया. Or a very simple, a pleasant example I'll give you. You leave for the office, suddenly a best friend from college gives a call to your wife and says, मैं भाभी घर आ रहा हूं, उसको बता दो. Now you're sitting in the office. Production support क्या है, उसमें ऐसी तैसी हुई है, मेजर इंसिडेंट खुला हुआ है. आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? कितनी बियर लेके जाऊं, चिकन कहां से ऑर्डर होगा, right? Because you're trying to live in that parallel universe. So one fact we have established that the parallel universe cannot stay parallel to your professional life. It has to come together, right? Now the question mark after the universe. How? How do we do that? And I draw examples from our simple real life. You're going to come to this conference this morning and be honest in this. How many of us actually had second thoughts before coming out of the Vajayit this morning? Especially people who are coming from far away. I was one of them. I'm coming from Noida. And lack of sleep, right? I left home at 8:30 after feeding that little kid, right? और उसके बाद मेरे को आश्रम पे जाना मिला. But did I lose my way? Or did I decide कि ठीक है मैं यहाँ से अब detour लेता हूँ, जाना मुझे है? Was this an example of agility in daily life? अगर हम उस रास्ते पे बैठे रहते जहां जाम लगा हुआ है कि नहीं मैं तो ये प्रोसेस फॉलो आज करके छोड़ूंगा, what was the outcome? I would have missed Colonel Zaidi, I would have missed Swati, I would have missed Bora ma'am. And all of us follow that agility in our real lives. Real lives. Professional life is not a real life. ठीक है? So how do we bring that agility into our professional life so that this parallel universe ceases to exist? That is the thought process I want you guys to take back today once I conclude here. Okay? I made a few points out of all our three speakers. The first one was command and control. Colonel Zaidi was talking about it, and in terms of the relative army experiences he had, absolutely correct. But in our professional life, अगर एक कोड मैनिपुलेट कंपाइल नहीं हुआ तो किसी की जान नहीं जा रही है, right? If a layoff happens, people are least affected. True? So how this command and control actually becomes a part of your agile? And this is a very controversial question I'm asking you. Ask any agilist, even the first generation agilists of this country, and they will say ये बेवकूफ़ है, बकवास कर रहा है, क्योंकि एजाइल के अंदर कमांड एंड कंट्रोल का कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं है. वी टॉक अबाउट सर्वेंट लीडरशिप. So how does command and control come into agility? In professional lives, how many of us have our direct reports and spans in the office here? Right? Okay? एक ऑब्जेक्टिव आया आपके पास, KPIs डिफाइन हुए, KRAs डिफाइन हुए. That is a process. चार्टर के बाद यही होता है. I am commanding the objective there. I am the leader. The outcome of this objective is my command. Who is going to control this? In an agile world, our teams, people reporting into our direct spans, correct? So to bring command and control in agility, take hold of that command. That command is nothing but the outcome, whether it is favorable or unfavorable, irrespective. Shield your people. They will control the outcome, and trust me, over the last 7 years I've been experimenting with this, even my current team. I never ever control how they are going to work on it. Never. And my team members are sitting here. They can vouch for it. How many objectives have I missed reaching out and getting the target fulfilled in the last 5 years? Any guesses? How many have I missed in the last 5 years? Any guesses? Zero. Top performing team in my organization right now. And they ask me what is the secret behind it. And I never tell them. I said, मैं तो हर एक घंटे में पूछता हूँ क्या कर रहे हो, सर पे नाचो जाके आप. वो यही कर रहे हैं, उनके टीम में वैसी सेटिस्फैक्शन का दही हुआ है. माई टीम इज हैप्पी एंड आई हैव टोल्ड देम, आई नेवर आस्क्ड देम. मेरे पास आते भी हैं नेहा वेरिशी, वन ऑफ द टॉप परफॉर्मर्स मेरे ऑटोमेशन टीम की, एंड शी लीड्स, शी हेड्स दैट. When she joined in January, again, came back to R1, She was in that whole process of meeting the supervisor every week once. एक बार हुआ, दो बार हुआ, third time she came and I said, Neha, why are you wasting your time with me? He said, नहीं सर मुझे बताना होता है आपको. Once in 2 weeks we'll meet. That took for half an hour. Stay true to the Scrum framework. What did we do? What are my challenges? How can Ashish help? I just need these 3 things. She has been able to automate certain things which people could not even think about before her entry into the system. And 3 months back she came to me and she said, now I understand कि एक simple what, how and when का जो concept है and that bifurcation, who owns what part, that actually works wonders. Right? So any questions on command and control? Command कौन करता है? किसी ने नहीं सुना, सब सोए. I'll ask again, who commands it? Leader. And who controls it? Second was pressure handling. Right? Somebody asked a question to Colonel Zedi. If there is a lot of pressure on you, how do you handle it with your team? Again, it is a part and parcel of the role of leadership that we play. We are not leaders, we are playing the role of a leader. In that role play, what is the threshold at which I would say I have had enough pressure? That defines the success or failure of a leader. My team, in the last 15 years of my career out of the total 20, I was 5 years into my career when I became a team leader. In 15 years, not once have I let the pressure get to my team. It affects the productivity, it affects the personalities of the people. 2-year, 3-year, 4-year experience guy coming from the industry to work with you. आते ही आप उसके ऊपर प्रेशर बिल्डअप कर दो. सेम सिचुएशन के अंदर दूसरा गाय, लीव दैट गाय फ्री. Which one flourishes? The one who is not under pressure. And how do you ensure that the pressure is not percolating down? Don't show it on your face. ये जो हिस्सा ईश्वर ने दिया है हमें, ये बहुत धोखेबाज हिस्सा है बॉडी का. It shows things like this. What it has happened with me. I came into the office. The first guy I meet of my team, जिसने अभी 2 महीने पहले ज्वाइन किया है, he comes up and he says, "Sir, आप ठीक हो? Seems like you are under pressure." छोटे-छोटे leaders are also humans, right? We learn with these things. So I start taking clues. So now when I get to the office, over the last year and a half, I keep smiling. कुछ भी हो रहा हो, I'll handle it. These guys are smart. जो आपके span में हैं. Give them the due respect. They're very smart people. They have started their own way of deducing what I am saying. When I say कि मुझको ये particular एक चीज, I want this completed by say the 20th of this month. And I leave the sentence there. They know कि 19th को देंगे हम. And when I say, and mind you, these guys think I don't know this. मैंने सुना है मेरे पीछे से, I've overheard these things. And when I say, I want this by 20th, see if something better can come up. That means I need it by 15th. And I'll get it by 13th. These guys are that smart. Nurturing is the word. If you want the agility automated in the people that are working with us in our organizations below our peer group, if you want that automated agility coming in there, you need to nurture them. Leaders are an umbrella. My team fails every month on something. People above my peer group never come to know about it. Unless there is a failure which is worth celebrating. We have done that also. I have given awards for people who have failed in trying to achieve something. That's a way of appreciation. Any questions on this? So the people working with us are dumb or smart? उठ जाओ, थोड़े एजाइल हो जाओ. Go ahead, please.
I don't remember the exact quote, but there is something, it goes like, you perform your best under pressure.
Hmm.
So while I understand the pressure maybe sometimes can backfire, but there is good stress also, positive stress, which bring out the best in people. And the other part of it is, I feel when you don't pass it on to your team, you are kind of protecting them, which makes them weaker in some way when they are going out in the world. So these are my two contradictions where I feel sometimes it's good to pass on the pressure also.
Okay. So let me try to share my thoughts on this. And this is very productive thinking, by the way. What you are experiencing right now. That means you are a thinker and you are actually concerned about how you perform and how your people perform, right? It is good to have pressure because your performance improves. The statement is true. But when I am working for something that I want to work towards, sportsmen, actors, politicians, rocket scientists, top industrialists, these are the people who love what they're doing. They love the pressure. आपकी टीम में एक ऑटोमेशन टेस्टर है, आप उसको कह रहे हो जावा पे कोड लिख दे और आप प्रेशर क्रिएट किए जा रहे हो, क्या होगा? Right? That is the first part. Second, passing on the pressure to the teams, it has to be a very controlled activity, my dear. If I am reporting into you and you are seeing the traits that he can be a better leader, that's when you start testing me by creating certain pressure points and see how I respond to it, how I react to it, how do I manage it. I have subjected these guys to it. And then when they came out with flying colors after a quarter, then I told them, this is what I was planning to do. That's how we create the next layer of leadership, right? Otherwise, then how would they be born in the industry? So it's a way of looking at it and it's a way of directing your efforts towards the objective you want to meet. And trust me, and I've been hated for this in the industry for the last 10 years. There are some first generation agilists जिनको मैं अपना गुरु कहता हूँ, and I literally bend down and touch their feet. They have told me on my face. She understood that, that's why I didn't touch upon it. You cannot create pressure on people without making them feel safe. What is the first sentence I tell you guys? Something new comes in, the first sentence I tell them is, even if you fail, it's okay. Provided you are not repeating your mistakes. Provided you are taking a new approach. जो approach पता है वो नहीं चलेगी, outcome नहीं देगी, आप फिर भी उस पर लगे हुए हो, then you will see my wrath. सीधी बात है. Right? Understood? I hope I was able to give you the answer. Third is, somebody said, Bora ma'am was the one who mentioned this, if I recall it, that the presence of the reporting manager is here, so a lot of people would not be able to speak the truth. Right? This statement came in. I have no problems with that. Honestly, ma'am, with all due respect, I don't have a problem with that. My thought process here, my opinion here is, if in my presence, my own DRs are not able to speak their heart out, it reflects on me, not them. I am a bad leader, I am a bad manager. I do not understand command and control. I have confused command and control with micromanagement. I have confused command and control with the approach of, it's either my way or the highway. Doesn't work. The only thing this works towards is breeding rebellion in the team. I as a leader would lose my respect. I would lose my credibility. Right? I'll tell you this. I have had my share of experiences with certain type of leaders. I will never forget two of the leaders I've worked with. I don't even call them leaders. I just mentioned that these are two individuals who happen to be in that role because it went to their head. But what did I learn from them? What not to do as a leader. The way they made me feel. Sarcasm, demeaning, right? Worthless. I will never let my people feel that way. If they are feeling that way, I'll actually ensure working towards getting the feeling out of them. How do you do that? Smaller tasks, which you know they can perform. Perform kiya, outcome aaya, and you start applauding. That's why I said, jab Sanjay was presenting about empathy, right? If you have experienced it, it is easier to understand it. Right? But it's a choice. If it has been inbred into us over the last 20 years, कि भाई लोगों से बात नहीं करनी है, ऑर्डर देना है, काम कराना है, it is my personal choice. What working style I want to have in my life. I sleep like a baby in the night because I know I have done justice with everybody in my span. Come what may. And there have been difficult situations, difficult discussions I had to have with these guys. What made me sail through that was 100% transparency. Obviously, certain confidential things you cannot share. So I tell them, this is confidential, I will not be able to share it with you. But this is the level of information I can share with you. As I said, intelligent people. Any person who comes to our organization is at least a graduate. IT industry, at least an engineer or a BC or an MCA. Do you think these guys are stupid? And comes back to the same quotation that Infosys chief had made once, right? If we tell them what to do, then what is the use of taking them in? Take a guy who has cleared 5th standard. जो आपने बोला वो कर देगा. Nurturing is the idea, right? So in the presence of your managers, start speaking your heart out. It will have repercussions at certain point in times, but that is dependent on the personality of your supervisor. Some people take offense in everything. In my office, there is a guy who takes offense if you say good morning to him in the morning. क्या मैं इसलिए पूछा था अगर ढीठ हो तो क्या करें? Because that was the guy who came up in my head. ऐसे लोगों को कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Take it with a pinch of salt. Move on with your day. Okay? Any questions, ma'am? What are you writing about?
Good, nice, catchy phrase.
Okay, I'm happy I'm able to help you with this. Okay, leadership styles, right? Swati's topic. Very nicely done. And during the network break, I stepped over to her and I was thanking her that I'm glad that the basics are still being talked about in the industry because we tend to move away from the basics in our day-to-day lives. We don't realize. Now, there are how many people here who are, say, less than 8 years of work experience? Very few. Less than 10? Less than 15? Less than 20? Okay. How many are from IT industry? Majority. Manufacturing? 1. Banking? Okay. The reason I asked that was majority is from IT, so I'll speak that language. When was the last time you guys used MS Excel? Yesterday? Okay. When was the last time you wrote a macro in MS Excel? Ages? Ages? Somebody said last week. One person said last week. Basics of MS Excel. When was the last time you created a pivot? Conditional formatting. Right? We move away from the basics. Now it's all about कौन सा डेटा कहाँ दिखाऊं कि मेरा ये प्रॉब्लम कैमोफ्लेज हो जाए, मेरे सुपरवाइजर को पता ना चले, पीछे पीछे कर लेंगे. I hate that attitude. And trust me, anybody who has worked with me, as me being the supervisor, I have always said, problem है ना, इतने बड़े font में लाल उसको highlight करके दिखा. If you are bringing a problem statement to me, that means you are working. You want something better to happen. Why are you camouflaging it? और आज तुमने कारपेट के नीचे डाल दिया, 3 महीने के बाद वो ऐसा सड़ेगा और आसपास का भी सारा मामला खराब होगा. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर इनटू प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवरी? Okay, one simple question, and be very truthful about this because I know the statistics around this. I'll hold you accountable. Production में कोड जाना है. She's already started smiling. She knows where I'm going. Production में एक कोड जाना है. मुझे पता है उसके अंदर ये 5 bugs हैं. What is the attitude? बोला क्यों? 30 दिन का वारंटी पीरियड है, उसमें बोल देंगे टेस्टिंग में बग निकल गया. इज दिस अप्रोच करेक्ट? कॉन्सेप्चुअली, फंडामेंटली, एथिकली इट इज नॉट. समटाइम्स यू मे नीड टू टेक इट. I can agree with that. But if this is a norm, then it's a cultural issue. Then it becomes automated agility. They are feeling agile. छोड़ दे. User acceptance में देख लेंगे. वो टेक डेट अलग है सर, वो उसका अलग कहानी है. मैं तो बग्स की बात कर रहा हूँ. नॉन इश्यूज ये, हाँ, नॉन इश्यूज. और जब जाके पूछो आप, यू टॉक टू डिलीवरी मैनेजर कि यार ये बग निकल रहा है इसमें, यूएटी में तो चल रहा था सर. यूएटी में चल रहा था तो प्रोडक्शन में कैसे आ गया भाई? वो सर प्रोडक्शन का वर्जन और यूएटी का वर्जन में डिफरेंस होता है ना. कॉन्फ़िगरेशन इश्यूज होते हैं सर, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अलग है, डेटा का अमाउंट, नंबर ऑफ डेटा लाइंस अलग है. किसको बेवकूफ बना रहे हो? वी आर फूलिंग आवरसेल्व्स विद दैट. So in my last assignment before I was working for R1 RCM, I was actually a global delivery head for almost 360 people odd. This kind of situation came, and there was a very, very, very important client जिसके लिए हम लोग कर रहे थे. 11 o'clock in the night, the production is to be code is to be deployed. 9:45, I am told कि सर ये issue इसमें है. Now it's an ethical question for me. What do I do? So I evaluated the choices. One, we let it go. But if this thing actually gets uncovered in front of the client, think like a client now. What would you feel? You feel cheated, you feel defeated. That I am placing my trust in your hands and this is what you're doing with me. So I took the other difficult route. I gave a call to the person who was sitting in the US, client director. Morning time उनका, they were very excited, ये जा रहा है. And he's telling me, I've just made coffee, Ashish, and I've added caramel to it. और मैं caramel तो मेरे को डालने वाला है अभी तो. I said, John, there is a problem. Don't tell me the code is not going. And the code is going, but this is an issue that has come up. And to be honest with you, we have been trying to handle this issue over the last week. We don't have a solution right now. फोन काटा, उसने काट दिया. मैं कहा आशीष अगर रेज्यूमे अपना अपडेट करो, फ्लोट करना शुरू करो, यहाँ कुछ नहीं होने वाला. 15 minutes later he gives me a call. He says, I have just talked to the vice president of the product engineering and he's saying, write an email thanking Ashish to let us know about this, ask him to go ahead with the production support after this. The contract with that client was supposed to conclude, this is happening in January, it was supposed to conclude in April of that year. In March mid, the clients flew to India, they signed a contract with me as a representative of that organization for the next 5 years. They said if this is the level of transparency and partnership, we would love to continue with you guys. And then 3 months later, I left the organization. But I came to know that the organization honored that SLA that we had signed. लेकिन बात वही है कि if you're transparent, right, you normally tend to gain the confidence of the people. That is what is automated agility. How many people married here? है ना, बड़ा sensitive topic. And पहले और disclaimers का दिन चल रहा है तो पहले disclaimer दे रहा हूँ. This is just an example I am taking. Please, okay? सुबह सुबह spouse से बहस हो गई किसी बात पे. Natural है. Two individuals, active brains, likes and dislikes, होता है कभी कभी डिस्कॉर्ड हो जाता है, नहीं पसंद. अब आप ऑफिस पहुंचे, ऑफिस में किससे शेयर करोगे आप ये? किसी से नहीं ना. द मोमेंट यू सिट इन द कार, ऑटोमेटिक एजिलिटी किक्स इन, यू पिक अप योर फोन, फ्रेंड को फोन, यार आज ना इसने ऐसे घर ली अपनी यार. वी हैव ऑल गॉन थ्रू दिस. And what is a friend doing there? He or she is just sitting quiet and listening to you. क्योंकि उसे पता है कि आपको सिर्फ वेंट आउट चाहिए. Automated agility. Now, the biggest problem, why I've been talking about this, why am I talking about parallel universe? IT industry or manufacturing or banking, these are three sectors primarily I have seen where they are doing agility. How do you do agility? I was in a training program which I was called for. I started talking about the concept of Scrum. The first question I got after 10 minutes was, where is the agile tool we came here to learn? I said, agile tool? Yes sir, like Java, Visual Basic, agile tool. That's when I realized agility के concepts are being talked about, they are being discussed around, but nobody is practicing it. Why are they being talked about? Why are they being discussed upon? क्योंकि मेरे मैनेजर ने कहा है हमें agile करना है, और हम में से कोई भी उठ के ये नहीं पूछ रहा कि agile करते कैसे हैं. 12 years in agility, I still don't understand how to do agile. It's a part of your system. Biggest example दूं आपको agility का. One fact which Sanjay also is aware and most of the older agile guys are aware, I never bring a PPT along. For the first 4 conferences, nobody asked me a question. And then my mentor, he's a very senior guy in agile industry, about to retire now. He asked me, क्यों नहीं लेके आता है? Any guesses? Where did I get these points from? Colonel Zaidi, Swati, Bora ma'am. Is there a bigger example of agility here? I am inspecting, I am adapting, and yet staying true to the topic I came with. So technology guys, especially technical guys who say that we are top-notch technical tech stack developers, full stack developers. By the way, there is nothing called a full stack developer. I am telling you openly, जिससे मेरी बात करानी हो करा देना. It's a bullshit concept. It's just a jargon, nothing else. Okay? Especially the technology-based guys, they do not care about the process. They do not care about agility. They do not care about anything else except कि ये कोड कब जाना है. तो अगर आप लोग actually organizational agility की तरफ काम कर रहे हो, which was a topic of Bora ma'am, which she has covered extensively by giving examples and very nicely done. But if you want to reach there, you need to have your technology guys onboarded. उनका automated agility में होना बहुत जरूरी है. What is the automated agility? इन्होंने अपने technology area में भी धोखाधड़ियां कर रखी हैं. I'll give you an example. How many technical guys here? Or how many of us work with technology guys? Engineering या अपने graduation, post graduation में किस किसने technology पढ़ा है? Okay, so now you'll understand this. Take the senior most developer of your team. उससे पूछो कि ये वाला फीचर आया था, इसका कोड डेवलप हो गया? यस मैम, यस सर, हो गया. मैं आपको वॉक थ्रू करा देता हूं. एल्गोरिदम कहां है? जवाब पता है क्या मिलेगा आपको? सर कहां 90s में जी रहे. देयर इज अ रीजन जिसकी वजह से एल्गोरिदम कॉन्सेप्ट केम इनटू पिक्चर. इट वाज अ ट्रायल एंड एरर सो दैट योर कोड डजंट टेक मोर टाइम टू बी रिटन. ये तो यही गड़बड़ियां कर रही है, एजाइल प्रोसेस क्या देखेंगे. So my 2 cents of suggestions, if you need agility in an automated manner in technology guys, don't use the jargons of agile. Don't tell them you are working on process. और एक golden mantra दे देता हूं, which nobody, I am 45 years old, आज तक एटलीस्ट मैं 30 years तो sane mind से काम किया, उससे पहले तो insane थे, कॉलेज ये वो सब जो भी था. So in my 30 years, not a single person who has said no to this. For example, ठीक है, ये लेटेस्ट मैंगो जूस है, सर ट्राई तो करो एक बार. You'll never say no. ये पर्टिकुलर डॉक्यूमेंट है, यूजर स्टोरी लिखनी है, उसके अंदर एक्सेप्टेंस क्राइटेरिया है, कौन देगा यार टाइम, ट्राई तो कर. यूनिट टेस्टिंग में आसान हो जाएगा, एग्जैक्ट कंडीशन तेरे को पता है, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव ये वो सब चेक हो जाएगा. They do it once, they do it twice, the third time it is in their muscle memory. But हाँ, first 2 times यहाँ कमांड भी तुम्हारा है, कंट्रोल भी तुम्हारा है, लेकिन how do you handle that person? That's up to you. That is something that you'll have to look inside your own personality. Okay? Measurement of agility, something that was covered. Only one question to you guys. Do you all love your parents? Do you love your spouses? Do you love your kids? How much? Measure बताओ. बताओ ना. अब कोई बोलेगा इतना. ये मेरे साथ लाइव कॉन्फ्रेंस में हुआ है. सर इतना. अच्छा, ये क्या मेजर है, क्या है इसका मेजर? कहता सर बस इतना है. Sir, that is consideration of love for your child. I am asking how much do you love that child? No measure? Why? Why? I am sure you will take this particular point with you today. Reason being, love is a behavioral thing. We cannot put behavior in measurable terms. Right? I love you as a friend. यार 60 टन का है. Does it make sense? You get the point? Agility के जो metrics है, I am not demeaning that. Enterprise organizations के अंदर measurement of agility is a very, very strong point and a very point it has to happen there. She was not wrong when she brought it up. लेकिन उसके जो metrics हम define कर रहे हैं industry में, those are questionable. Heavily questionable. According to me, and this is again can be my own opinion because मैंने अपने experience में यही देखा है. The easiest way of measuring productivity of a Scrum team is the number of features they have delivered over say 6 sprints. Simple enough. 10 की लिस्ट आपको दी थी, आपने प्रायोरिटाइज किया, आपने बोला हम ये 4 करेंगे, आपने 5 कर दिए. हाई प्रोडक्टिविटी. अब आप मुझे कह रहे हो कि जितने 9 बंदे उस टीम में बैठे हैं सबका रोज का प्रोडक्टिविटी निकालो. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. Because priorities are changing on a daily basis. चाहे वो किसी भी रीजन से हो. कभी प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर आके कह देता है, कभी क्लाइंट कह देता है, कभी आपका सुपरवाइजर कह देता है. सुपरवाइजर कैसे मना करोगे, राइट? उसकी प्रेजेंस में तो सच भी नहीं बोल रहे हम, राइट? ठीक है ना? Start these practices, and if you are chewing on something, eat it openly. No problem. Good. मुझे लगा बियर है नीचे. तो पूछने वाला था यार, मेरे को ही मंगा देते. ठीक है, मेक सेंस? तो द लास्ट पॉइंट नाउ, एंड दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग word in English, especially when we are talking about parallel universe, automated agility. Whether it is manufacturing, whether it is IT, whether it is defense forces, whether it is banking, whether it is anything that you can think of. And that word is competition. आपका क्या शुभ नाम है सर? विकास. विकास जी, फैमिली यहीं रहती है? फैमिली में कौन कौन है?
मदर, फादर,
वाइफ है, बेटा बेटी को भी है. घर में किससे कॉम्पीट करते हो? नो वन. ऑफिस में किससे करते हो? ये तो थियोरेटिकल आंसर दे रहे हो यार. प्रैक्टिकल बताओ यार. चलो, जनरली इंडस्ट्री में कंपटीशन में मतलब क्या है? एंड आई टेल यू व्हाई आई हैव टेकन दिस वर्ड अप. विद द पीयर ग्रुप्स. और मैम 5 की रेटिंग. यस. Bora ma'am was telling about the different companies under the same domain. They are competing against each other, right? Obviously, business है, मेरे को revenue ज़्यादा चाहिए, उससे ज़्यादा बनाना है, market share उससे ज़्यादा चाहिए. Here the competition is acceptable. Same team. You would have a hierarchy. चाहे स्क्रम टीम भी ले लोगे, कोई जूनियर डेवलपर है, दीपक जैसे, 1.5 year back he has joined the organization, one of the junior most members in my team, one of the most efficient. Chirag is also sitting there, these 2 guys, okay? इनके ऊपर एक सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपर बैठा है, उनके ऊपर एक स्टाफ सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर बैठा है, उसके ऊपर एक एसोसिएट मैनेजर बैठा है, उसके ऊपर एक मैनेजर बैठा है, मैनेजर के ऊपर सीनियर मैनेजर बैठा है, उसके ऊपर मैं बैठा हूं। अब इस हायरार्की के अंदर कंपटीशन कहां होना चाहिए? एनी थॉट्स? पाजी जोर से। पीयर ग्रुप में, ओके। हाँ, तो पीयर ग्रुप में, सो दैट आई गेट एलिवेटेड फर्स्ट, ओके। एनी अदर थॉट्स? अदर टीम्स ऑल्सो, ओके। एनी अदर थॉट्स? यार लास्ट टॉपिक है, अब तो बोलो। कंपैरिजन नहीं सर, क्या होता है, सच्चाई की बात कर रहे हैं अभी, सत्य के राह पे हैं बिल्कुल। टाइमलाइंस पे होता है। आज की डेट में कंपटीशन बेसिकली मैनेजर्स इंस्टिल करते हैं अपनी टीम में, तुझे उससे आगे बढ़ना है ना, मेरा ये काम कर दे। उसके बाद अगर तुझे इससे आगे बढ़ना है ना, मेरा ये काम कर दे। डू यू थिंक दिस अप्रोच इज गोइंग टू वर्क? नो, राइट? एग्जैक्टली, हिट द नेल ऑन द हेड। अब ये दोनों बच्चे 1.5 साल हुआ है अभी करियर स्टार्ट किए हुए, दे वुड नॉट हैव अ वॉइस अगर इस टाइप के कंपटीशन कट थ्रोट चल रहे हैं आपस में। सो समथिंग आई ट्राइड 7 years back in one of the most difficult teams I've worked with. Organization name is McKinsey, by the way. One of the most difficult team I got. मतलब people were, how do I say this? मंत्रा के कई, समझ रहे हो आप, मतलब वो कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ मेरी आंखों के सामने हो रहा है, लाइक हो क्या रहा है, समझ नहीं आ रही बात। सो आई ट्राइड दिस। बेल कर्व की बात हो रही थी, somebody asked a question about बेल कर्व, मैम ने पूछा था। आई सेड कोई किसी कोई हायरार्की नहीं है आज से, टीम में सिर्फ एक गुंडा है, वो मैं हूं। ये मैं चकदे से चुराया था डायलॉग, उस टाइम नहीं आई थी। मैं कहा एक ही गुंडा है, वो मैं हूं। आई एम द डिसीजन मेकर, जिसको जो इनपुट देना है मेरे को आके दो। What happened in 1 week? Can you imagine? Any ideas? The junior members, junior most members, 5 more minutes. Last year topic. Junior most members started approaching me and they said we are not being heard. I said okay, I am sitting here, I'll hear. बताओ क्या है? They gave me a solution to a particular problem statement these guys were handling for a year and a half. They gave me a solution spanning 7 working days. They said, sir, मेरे को free hand दे दो, मैं 7 दिन में ये implement करके दिखा दूंगा। I gave him. 7 days में उसने किया, जैसे उसने किया, associate manager of the same team resigns. And this was the mantra sitting there. गया? After that, every assignment I have taken, even in my current organization, all of these guys are sitting here. I tell them, if you are functioning, if you are working on something, there is no hierarchy. Even me, if I am sitting in that meeting, I am no director there. We are working towards a statement which will solve this. And it has worked wonders. So now, the competition, जो आपने पहला आंसर दिया था, बिल्कुल सही दिया था. All of these guys are competing with where they were in 24. In 24, they were competing with where they were in 23. Not individually. That is the beauty of it, as a group. Unity of purpose. And then, इनके साथ इनके career growth path का justification is my responsibility. So I do that. जो भी हो सकता है. Okay? I hope this made sense. With that, I'll stop here. Thank you very much for listening. You've been a great audience. Done, sir.
So we had just